the McDonald's story and how they idiot-proof their system and how you can apply it to your own service business. Everything I thought a coach would know, they didn't know. It's education, right? It's how well do they know you? How well do they trust you? How well do they know you and what you do? Do you ask someone to marry you on the first date? The answer for most people that are not absolutely mental is no. We are the right fit for them, the right service for them, and the only ones they should work with based on their specific problem. Alright guys, welcome back to another video with Work-Life Unbalanced. Today I'm going to talk to you about the McDonald's story and how they idiot-proof their system and how you can apply it to your own service business. If you're trying to scale a coaching, consultancy, agency business, anything online, this is what this channel is all about. So make sure you subscribe if you're interested in doing that. Now, the McDonald's story is pretty crazy, right? When you look at the foundation of it all, I don't know if you know this, but you might have seen the film The Founder. If you haven't seen the film, definitely worth a watch if you're into your sort of business films. It's kind of it's a mix between like a documentary, but also it's definitely more of a film, and it's actually quite exciting to watch and see the story. It's more of a story of how Ray Kroc, who didn't found the business, but he realized the crazy system that they had going on, and then he took it, they changed the model around. It almost became more of like an investment business as well, where they create the properties and most of their asset value sits in the valuation of their properties. But that's not important for this video. What's important for this video is how they broke down the model of fast food and how, number one, obviously they created a much better customer experience to the customer they were going for, which was people that wanted fast food. And then they prioritize speed. And how did they do that? The system of delivery was broken down to each single piece, just like a factory, where one person was responsible for a certain thing. And you probably know this because we've all got someone we know. My mother worked at McDonald's, my partner worked at McDonald's. Almost anyone, I think everyone knows someone that worked in McDonald's, and they will all tell you they're quite proud of their time there because it's such a crazy good system that we can all learn from. Just to give you an example of how this worked, right? So let's just say this is the kitchen, and let's just say obviously the conveyor belt didn't work like that, but that's how they go from start to finish, right? Just like a production line. They had someone for each single part of the business, or part of the process of making a burger. Let's say this was the meat, so they cooked the meat, and then this was the dressing of the actual meat. This was when they'd put the buns on, and then the fries, and then the sauces or packaging, right? This is just an example. It's not obviously the example. It's definitely the right way it works. I didn't work in McDonald's, but you can see how this has been broken down into the small processes of the business, how it actually works. And the way they're able to idiot-proof it is, if any of you have ever employed someone, you know the importance, or you've learned the hard way, the importance of SOPs, right? So these are standard operating practices, or people call them standard procedures. It's basically a tick list, a task sheet of what they need to do, and a step-by-step process is broken down. Each step is like idiot-proof, and you should do that for every business as well, not just McDonald's, for example. Any single job role you've got, if it's customer success, customer support, if it's delivery as a coach, like we built up a team of coaches. We had a step-by-step process. This is how you handle a check-in. This is what you cover in your feedback. This is how you communicate. This is what you don't do. This is what you do. We had everything laid out, and it was like a Bible, like a handbook you'd give someone so that they would follow that step-by-step and make sure they get that right. Now, what we can learn from this from McDonald's, right, for our own businesses is, number one, the importance of systems. The reason that they were able to scale so fast, and they obviously license their businesses as well, so people pay a fee because their systems and their model is so good. It's not just the brand, it's everything that goes into it. You basically get handed a business in a box. You're basically buying a business in a box that's proven to work. They've got a proven model, but all of these processes that we have to figure out as entrepreneurs, as business owners, when we're setting our own thing up. And I found this the hard way, right? When I was scaling PB Academy, when I brought in my first coach, the first thing I realized was, wow, I've hired a coach that's obviously, got a background in nutrition and training, but the service the way they provided the service, to the communication, the check-ins, everything was terrible, right? And everything I thought a coach would know, they didn't know. So I had to literally break every single piece down, and I've still got it as a within our folders for each part of the business. But for a coach specifically, in the end, what I did was I created a full course, like people buy online, and I broke down every single part of a check-in, every single part of a setup process when a new client comes on board, the onboarding process, the setup video, every single thing, broke it down and built a video around it, taught it, just like going through a course and going through an education. So that made sure that not only was every single person brought up to speed of this is how you handle this process, this is how you deliver a good service to our standards, but and it held them accountable as well. I could hold them accountable to that. So if they weren't doing that, they either didn't learn it enough and they had to go back and learn it again, or we just had to work on their skill set as well. So there was like a lot of training that needed to be done there specifically. But the why I say idiots can work on McDonald's is because they can hire anyone. They can go through their quick training process and they can be up to speed and just fit into one of these roles because it's very simple. However, think of the opposite. If you had to hire a chef, which is what a lot of small restaurants do, or small pubs do, they have chefs that are meant to do everything. Now you need a really skilled individual that's going to cost you more, and it's going to be more reliant on them. So you're reliant on them, and there's human error involved with that then, because you're not able to teach them every part of it because they're more skilled than you. If I was you and I was in this situation where, number one, if you're thinking about bringing people in, you need to build out the SOPs, you need to build out these standard operating procedures and really dumb it down, idiot-proof it. I know you're thinking maybe you're hiring a really good person, a skilled person, but if they're coming into your business where you already know how that process is meant to run, please make sure you really break that down. But more specifically, for those of you in the early stages, so maybe you're not at this point where you're hiring people, but you're starting out, how can this be valuable to you? Well, you already know that for a business, you've got three processes, right? You've basically got leads, you've got sales, and you've got delivery. I'll just call it delivery. Yeah? So these are the three processes that you've got. And business is really that simple. It really is that simple when you break it down. You've basically got three parts to the business. And then in all these subsections, you've got loads of different processes that go on. So you might be running social media and organically posting to get leads. You might be running lead magnets and launching lead magnets to get leads. You might be running paid ads to get leads. You might be using cold outreach and having people on your team. You might have a VA. You might have someone in-house that's doing outreach. So these are all the little processes you could have underneath this lead section for the business. Then for the sales section of the business, we have a very straightforward customer journey that people go on. So no matter which way they come through as a lead, they always go through, it's coming to the same path. So there's loads of different ways of which they can become a lead, but eventually it all funnels through to the same sales process, the customer journey that they have to go on. To simplify that sales process, because it's something I'm really passionate about, what's the difference between a cold lead and a warm lead? Can you tell me that? It's education, right? It's how well do they know you? How well do they trust you? How well do they know you and what you do? And how much do they know about your service and what it does? So if you ever still get the questions in the DMs early on in the customer journey, they've just followed you, they found out about you, or maybe they've been referred by someone within your network. How many questions do you get? What do you do? What packages do you offer? How much does it cost? All those questions should be handled when you convert a cold lead to warm, yeah, which is what they do become before they eventually go through and become a client. My handwriting is terrible, right? So you need education. Education is what converts them from cold to warm, and the way we do that and the way we take control of that is not relying on these platforms that we did to get leads, because that's social media, that's organically posting or paid ads. We don't want to rely on that to educate them. We want to bring them into our ecosystem where we have full control, and we have full control with emails. We have full control with video content such as long form on YouTube that we can send them the direct links to. So I know some people are opposed to sending people back to social media platforms, and I agree with that, right? Don't send them back to Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that. But you can send them to maybe unlisted videos on YouTube or videos embedded into your website, your landing pages. And what that's going to do is going to move them closer to becoming a warm, educated lead, because you're now nurturing them. And when we say nurture, it's basically following what Google put out as the 7-11-4 rule. So the 7-11-4 rule is a study they done back in 2011, I think. This basically proved all the way back then of what it takes a customer to buy from you and trust you. And that was 7 hours of content over 11 different touch points in 4 different locations. Locations can be anything like watching them on the phone. It can be seeing them on an email when they're in work. It's different things like that of when they consume your content. So you need 4 different touch points. The 11 different touch points is going to be the amount of times they watch you, the amount of different times they've pulled you up and seen you. And then the 7 hours of content, it does what it says on the tin, is the amount of time they need to spend with you before they trust you. A quick example of this is, do you ask someone to marry you on the first date? The answer for most people that are not absolutely mental is no, they wouldn't do that. You need to spend a significant amount of time with someone before you fully trust them and you understand them and you agree to go on that journey with them, right? So the same thing it happens when someone becomes a client. A lot of people that get clients or leads from organic, they believe that it takes time, and they're right to an extent. But if you're just putting out short form content, 60 seconds, of course it's going to take them 6, 9, 12 months to trust you and buy from you. Of course it's going to take that time, because they've just been fed bite-sized chunks of you. The way to fast track that process is to, number one, not just move with long form content like YouTube, but number two is to take control of what they see from you and feed them the right content. That's why you capture their email and information and phone number, and you're able to send them the direct content. You can have this automated as a nurturing process depending on which way they become a lead. And what we do is we purposely send over, whether it's a free training like a webinar, it's a long form VSL, anything like that. But specifically then when they book a call, we send them a welcome pack VSL. And what this does is it takes them through the full customer awareness journey, which, if you don't know, it basically takes them from being unaware of the problem to then problem aware to then solution unaware. They don't know what to do. There's different paths they can take, to then solution aware. We educate them on the best solution, the best path to take, and then obviously product aware, which is when they know that we are the right fit for them, the right service for them, and the only ones they should work with based on their specific problem. And that's when you need to know your dream client, your target audience inside out. So I know this is a lot of information to think about, but this is what I'm talking about when we can learn from McDonald's and build a good system, so that this system here, regardless of how they come into our ecosystem, we educate them to become a warm lead, and they're far more likely, once they get on that call or whatever conversion point you've got, they convert into a client, and they're the dream client that you want to work with as well. I know I've fed a lot of information into this video here, but hopefully that makes sense. And if you want to get the Welcome Pack VSL framework, the link's going to be below, so you can build out your own system like this, your own sales system, so you can move closer to stop being a constraint in your own business where you're stuck in sales, and you can start to reduce that and increase your close rate as well simultaneously, so you get more clients, you make more money. And that's what it's all about, building a sales system. So hopefully that makes sense. You need to make sure as well, once you get those clients, you have a great service delivery, and you have systems built out for that as well, so you increase the LTV, the lifetime value of how long someone stays with you. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to information overload you, but if you want that, click the link below. I hope this makes sense. Make sure you subscribe if you're trying to scale or grow a service business online. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon.